I've been collecting video games for as long as I've been doing YouTube, so just almost 10 years, and I've gotten myself a pretty good collection in doing so. Sure, there are a few things I'm still missing, like a Sega Saturn, a Sega 32X, Atari consoles, Neo Geo, that stuff, but I'm happy with what I have right now. However, for my years of collecting, I've had a few gripes with the process, one of the more notable ones being space. I have about 19 or so home consoles, all from various different generations with their own power supplies and cords and everything that makes them unique, excluding things like mini consoles of course. And for pretty obvious reasons, I can't keep them all in the same setup without it being a massive fire hazard, well, more than it already is. And that is a bit annoying if you want to play a specific game that isn't backwards compatible with one of the consoles you have currently set up, or available in some other way on one of the consoles you have also on said setup. Along with this, I like to display my systems and games in a nice way, so stacking systems on top of other systems isn't really something I'm personally fond of. Yes, I could just emulate the games I already have by getting an emulator, ignoring the whole issue of space, but those are somewhat costly, and also, I just like playing them in the original way, even if I should probably play them on a CRT and not a flat-screen television. Oh, and for the games, I always hate having to put them like this. You know, having them loose and just stay on top of my wall like this. Or when it comes to having various games from other game systems in the same section, which makes them look a bit out of place. Like, look at this. This is where my NES games are, then this is where my SNES games are, this is where my single Super Famicom game is, and this is where my Dreamcast game is, and my custom Dreamcast box also. Oh, speaking of Super Famicom, I hate how this and also my N64 games don't have labels. Like, seriously, is it really that hard to put a piece of paper on top of it to identify which game is which just from scanning the shelves? I mean, it really seems like more of an inconvenience than it should be. Let's not to mention dealing with things like the GameStop cases that mold their own cases that just feel wrong and all bad in quality. Like, once I had this GameCube game, and it came in a PS2 case, which, you know, isn't horrible, but it just doesn't feel right, especially when there's so much space for where a PS2 size disc would be. And let's also mention that the PS3 games don't exactly work well when it comes to these custom things. And how could I forget the kind of covers they use? Like, look at these, they just look bad. And then sometimes I have to print them out on my own, and most of the time the kind of quality just doesn't look good. For some reason, whenever I print them, they just don't feel right. I can't put my finger on it. Like, look at this. Look at this. And let's not forget about when it comes to buying used games and having the cases be damaged, or when they have just a ton of stickers that are to put off, and when they put them inside the artwork, like, oh my god, don't do that. And let's not forget stacking games on top of other games. That just doesn't feel right. I like displaying my games in a proper way, not on top of my PS2 games, or when I have to just awkwardly put them in a place that doesn't feel like they should be put in. God, people are dying and I'm complaining about how to display my fucking video games. I need to get a life.